Hi, welcome back to Talk of the Town. Johnson's Urban Farm is an organic greenhouse farm and specialty market providing farm fresh produce to low-country restaurants and families, as well as offering educational programs for all ages. Here to tell us about upcoming workshops they will be offering, owner Emily Johnson. Emily, always a pleasure.
Yep, thank you for having me again.
Certainly. So what upcoming workshops do you have scheduled for adults?
We have basically it's an intro to gardening workshop that we have scheduled 4 times in the month of April. It's a 2-hour workshop that offers everything from an intro to soil selection, soil production, how to actually plant, just a real 411 on everything growing vegetables. So you can ask any questions that you have. So far, we've actually given the same class 3 times, I believe, so far. And it's interesting, most of the attendees have actually been people that love to garden already, that have their own gardens at home. And so it's almost, it is a 411, it is a basics class, so even if you're just getting into it, you can learn there. But I know that a lot of our attendees so far have a lot of experience and have a lot of questions when they get in there that are much more advanced. So it's really, it sort of runs the gamut. It's really interesting. It's kind of makeup of the class makes it up.
Yes, exactly. So so you can kind of go with the flow of the class.
Exactly. Yep.
So what upcoming workshops do you have scheduled for children? Because I think that's such a great idea that you incorporate children in this.
Well, hopefully children are going to become more and more of a focus, especially as we get into the summer.
Yeah.
That's really something that I'm really passionate about. The class that we are offering right now is called Wonderful Worms, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically learning about how worms interact with the soil, what they do for the plants, et cetera, and you create, or the students create their own worm habitat and end up leaving with this little worm habitat so that they can bring home and give it to mom and say, look what I made, mom. But really more and more we're going to be incorporating courses for kids, everything from healthy eating for kids, growing for kids, just you name it. I'd really like to incorporate a lot more of that healthy lifestyle aspect in a hands-on way that kids of all ages can really understand.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. So what's currently in season growing at Johnson's Urban Farm?
So we just did a massive harvest and actually harvested pretty much everything and have replanted, and we have so many different things that are now in the ground. We've got probably about 20 different kinds of tomatoes, about 10 different kinds of peppers, different types of 6 different kinds of zucchini, squash, multiple forms of greens, lettuces, etc. We actually have things growing in soil, and we have things growing hydroponically. So if you were to look at, I don't know how many pictures of this we presently have on the website, but we have 2 different forms of hydroponics. One that is called the Kratky form of hydroponics. It's a flat, sort of sitting in a pod type form, and that's mostly used for leafy greens. So right now we have Bib lettuce and romaine lettuce that's in there. And then we also have something called Dutch bucket hydroponics, which is again something we'd like to have classes on to teach people how to do it themselves. And that's for vining plants. So tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, things like that that will grow up. So we also in the back actually have something that my cousin nicknamed the Green Monster because he's from Boston. So for those of you from Boston, that'll make sense because we're going to it's about 8 feet tall, and there'll be vining plants that are growing up that too. So eventually it'll be green. So what do we have? We have all different kinds of beans. We have different types of tomatoes, specialty tomatoes, different types of cherry tomatoes, different types of peppers. I mean, you name it, we've got it growing right now. So in about 30 days is when we'll have pretty significant list that's available, and then ongoing after that.
And then the harvest changes in the summer?
We're actually, because of the hydroponics, we're able to sort of continue to keep it back to back. So yes, the harvest will change in the summer somewhat. I mean, what we'll be planning when we do the whole overhaul again, say in July, we'll be planting some things that are slightly different, but we have a few benefits. Well, one big benefit is the greenhouse, of course, because even though it gets hot as Hades in there, it moderates the temperatures somewhat. So we have a shade cloth that will be going over it here soon once it starts getting Hilton Head hot. And that will allow us to sort of moderate the heat in there and keep things going more so, hopefully year-round, but this is our first big summer that we're going through, so we'll see how it goes.
So exciting. So quickly, are you looking for volunteers? Are you looking for teachers or instructors?
Yes, we're looking for all of the above. So we have been blessed with some really wonderful volunteers that have come to help us with this recent planting. Really, really wonderful. Folks that are interested in gardening. We have folks that are getting their Master Gardeners certification, if I'm saying that correctly. et cetera, et cetera. I mean, folks that
Yeah.
are involved in that. And then also when it comes to teachers, whether it's school teachers that have the summer off that would be interested in teaching science-type
Yeah.
courses, individuals that are involved in health and wellness that might want to teach courses there and use that as a venue to promote their own services. Really, we're open to any and all ideas.
And we'll have all your information on the screen so people can contact you, and thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for having us.
Love having you.
Have a good day.
And we'll be right back with Talk of the Town.